Now that you've learned what a mesa looks like, I'm going to walk you through all the building blocks of a mesa. They are the mission, the prototype, the pillars, the team, the 5-day format, and the rituals. A mission is a short piece of text that describes with precision everything that you have to accomplish at that mesa. Here's what a mesa mission looks like. Our mission is to make people conscious of the impact the Amazon forest has in their lives and the impact their daily choices have in the forest. We need to create and prototype a powerful content experience that connects the user to the forest. We need to decide which stories we want to tell and their formats. Whatever we create must be able to make excellent use of our digital product new features. On Friday at 5 p.m., we will present to a group of guests. Our mission is to show the world how work should be. We must create and prototype a solution that will communicate what we do and capacitate leaders worldwide to organize and lead their own mesas. Whatever we create has to take Mesa one step into the future, define and express what Mesa is in a very simple and powerful way, and be profitable both for Mesa and for our network. On Saturday at 1:30 p.m., we will present what we've created to a group of guests. Our mission is to reinvent the pension fund for a generation that doesn't believe in it. We must create and prototype a digital product that encompasses the complete journey of a 20-year-old in order for them to make the decision of investing in their future. This tool should help anyone this age go through 4 phases: knowledge, acquisition, ongoing relationship, and payback. On Friday at 5 p.m., we will present the result of this mesa for a small group of guests. The mission is your guide to building a prototype, a fundamental part of any mesa. A prototype is something that you make. So at the end of a mesa, you not only have a presentation or a keynote, but you have something real that embodies all the strategic decision that group reached. When a mesa finishes, we don't tell people the solution, we show them the solution. In that way, a prototype is nearly the opposite of an idea. It's something that you actually have to make, and therefore you force people to make decisions. And at the end, you can see whether it works or not. In previous editions of mesas, we've prototyped things such as a whole pilot for a new TV fashion show, or the actual facility and the whole training system for a new fitness category, or a new product for one of the biggest food brands in the world. I mean, the whole product, the recipe itself, the packaging, the launching campaign, everything. It's impressive how much you can get done in 5 days if you have everyone that you need sitting around the same table. But how do you know that you have everyone that you need sitting around the same table? By breaking the mission into pillars. A pillar is a combination of the skill or knowledge a person brings together with the context that is relevant to that mission. Here's what a list of pillars looks like. Mesas are not about working with a bunch of talented people. It's about working with one talented person for each pillar. By choosing pillars, you specify the background that each participant needs to have. And then you are more likely to find the right person for the job. For example, if your job is to launch a new product in Central West Africa, you will need someone that understands the way retail works in that specific region, which is basically family-owned and small independent shops. If you get someone from the United States, where the market is dominated by big retail stores, it's very likely that that person won't be able to deliver a relevant solution to that mission. So, you always break the mission into pillars before finding your team. And your team is going to have as many people as the number of pillars that you chose. In our experience, you can get every single piece of knowledge and every skill that you need in a team with 12 to 16 people. This is important because if there are too many people around the table, it's going to be impossible to keep one single conversation. So, who is part of your team? No one knows more about a problem than the people who live with it. So, the problem owner is always present at a mesa. The problem owner and other people from within that organization are participants just like anyone else. They're not there to approve things or evaluate things. They are working together with the rest of the team. They are chosen because they know the problem really well, because they know the way that organization works, and because they are the final decision makers. But it's also very unlikely that all the knowledge that you need is going to be inside that organization. A specialist is someone with a piece of knowledge that doesn't exist inside that company. Although the specialists will make a presentation on day one, they're not there to talk, they're there to work. And they will apply every single thing that they know and every expertise that they have into solving your problem. You also need people with the skills to actually build the prototype, the makers. They are people with hard skills like coding, video making, writing, motion design, anything that you need. Finding a group of really committed makers is key to the success of a mesa. Best makers are the ones who think with their hands, and they are as relevant as anyone else in the decision making process. As well as the problem owners, specialists, and makers, you might also have speakers at your mesa. A speaker is someone that will come on day one, present a content, and leave. There are usually two reasons why we choose to have a speaker. The first one is that you want that piece of knowledge, but you don't think you need that person sitting side by side with the rest of the team for 5 days. For example, someone might come and just present a research that that company did in the past. Or you might want someone to come and show some trends forecast. The other reason for you to want a speaker is if you want someone, but they cannot commit for 5 full days. But you still want their knowledge, so you invite them to come and speak on day one. These speakers are the only people who can take part of a mesa and not commit for 5 full days. The reason we do mesas in 5 days is not because we celebrate fast, it's because we celebrate excellence. And the best way to reach excellence is if you work in a compressed time frame. There are two reasons for that. Reason number one, you are more likely to get great results if you are working with really talented people. And the best way to work with really talented people is by locking down a time frame. Reason number two, when you are immersed into something, your productivity increases exponentially. At a mesa, you're dedicating 30 to 40 hours with every single piece of knowledge and every skill that you need sitting a chair away from you. In a group of 16 people, that's like having 600 hours dedicated to one mission. In regular life, between meetings and personal schedules and delays for feedbacks, you would take months to invest that same amount of time. Day number one is when we download all the knowledge and content that we need in order to understand the problem that we are going to tackle. It's a day that we don't even work yet. You don't want people to be thinking of the solutions before they actually understand the context of that problem. You're going to hear from both the problem owners and from the people you brought as specialists and makers. Day two is the day you open your mission and start working. After you've opened it and is sure that everything is fully understood, then it's time for people to start having ideas. This is the day that most resembles a regular workshop or an ideation process, with creative exercises and people splitting into smaller groups. Day three is the day we make a decision. It tends to be a really hard day because you have to leave stuff behind. It's also the day that we start building things. Day four is all about working. We already have an initial prototype, and people have their hands full with the tasks that have been assigned to them. Our goal is to take the prototype as close as possible to reality. Day five is the day you deliver your mission. It's going to be a really intense day. People are still finishing the prototype and also preparing a presentation to a group of guests. All the success of a mesa ultimately depends on the leader. A mesa leader is someone who can run the mesa method from beginning to end. They can assemble and lead a team of really great people to achieve high performance and solve complex challenges. A leader is also someone who learns really fast, and ultimately, everything that happens in a mesa is their responsibility. A leader will work really hard, and that mission is the one thing that they will focus on for that entire week. This whole course is about what a leader needs to know and do in order to achieve great results. Mesas are very ritualistic. Everything we do has a clear intention and is presented in a way that makes people naturally connect to it. So now I'm going to walk you through the 6 main rituals of a mesa. For us, the head of the table is a sacred place. You don't chit chat at the head of the table. You don't mess around at the head of the table. You take the head of the table. And when you're there, you have to be at your best. Other participants can only take the head of the table if you evoke them. And when you do, you want to be really clear about why each person is taking the head of the table. You don't say, oh, come here. You say, we're going to listen to this person because of this and that. At a mesa, every participant gets a sealed envelope containing the mission, and everyone opens it together. Once you do it, it naturally engages people, and it feels like they've signed a contract committing to delivering that mission. There is something ingrained in every human being that when you sit around the same table with people that you care about, you feel like you can be open. Tables are a place of pleasure. It's where you share food, drinks, conversations. At the same time, tables are the objects that we use to work, to have meetings. So when you are sitting at a table, you are committed into something. You are never there for no reasons. At Mesa, we sit around the table for long enough for people to feel really open towards each other, while still keeping their productive attitude. By making tables its central piece, mesas become the perfect combination between pleasure and commitment. At Mesa, we have this place called Leave Me Alone. And every time people have to sit around the table, they have to put their cell phones there. The ritual of walking towards the Leave Me Alone and placing their cell phone there put people into the right mindset, which is my one concern this week is this mission and nothing else. People don't usually see doing as a ritual, but it is, and a very powerful one. If you tell people an idea and ask them what they think about it, their brain will naturally go into criticizing mode. They will try to see a version of that idea that doesn't work. But if you ask them to build something, they will try to find a solution and build something that works. So, executing is the ritual you use to change people's behavior from finding flaws into finding solutions. Having a clear deadline is fundamental to guarantee people's commitment. You want to make the final presentation as challenging as possible. You want to invite real decision makers, people who the participants fully respect and to whom they don't want to present something that they are not very proud of. The team needs to understand that this is not an exercise and that the guests at the final presentation will judge what they see as something final. You don't want guests to say, oh, this is really great for something that was done in 5 days. You want them to say, oh, this is really great. I'm on board. So, those are the 6 main rituals at a mesa. The purpose of rituals is changing people's behavior in a way that they don't even realize that you're asking them to change. If you were to create a rule instead of a ritual, it's very likely that people would break it or fight it. But rituals have the power of connecting everyone.